We got Sean O'Hara up there with some great moves. I can see we got Michael Robinson, Mike Garafolo. We are ready to go. No football this weekend, which is weird, but hey, we got the Super Bowl to talk about. I don't know. It would be maybe. There we go. Trying to make it work, but the delay, again, not sure if it's going to work with that. All right, let's get into things right now because the countdown, it is on 8 days until Super Bowl 55 in Tampa. Chiefs, Bucks, it's really a dream matchup. Patrick Mahomes and the defending champs against Tom Brady and the first team ever to play in the Super Bowl in their home stadium. Get over it. You're going to hear it a lot. Just embrace it at this point. We cannot wait. So let's get to things here with the walkthrough. This game has so many things to talk about, so many storylines. Let's ease into it here. Beginning with Kansas City and their #1 total offense, Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey, really as good as it gets. They've scored 30 or more 10 times this season, including the AFC title game against Buffalo. Mike Rob, who are you watching here?
Yeah, this may be a little low-hanging fruit, but Tyreek Hill, hey, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In that Week 12 matchup, the guy had almost 300 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. Find out where he is at all times. Every play, every time the Kansas City Chiefs break the huddle, you need to know where Tyreek Hill is. The offense revolves around his speed. The defense contracts and restricts based off of where Tyreek Hill is lined up. So I think this game is going to come down to how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defends Tyreek Hill, and can he make a true splash in this Super Bowl matchup?
I love that he said he had that monster quarter in Week 12, and then he was like, you know what, I just got tired of running, so I just gave myself a break. I wonder if that's going to happen again. We'll see. Let's go to the Chiefs' defense here, and they've obviously been playing well, allowing just 20 points per game in the playoffs. They struggled a bit, though, during the regular season, but just like last year, they've turned it up down the stretch here. Sean, which KC defender are you excited to see?
Yeah, well, we're seeing some of the pressure that this defense brought. You just saw the interception by Tyrann Mathieu. There's another one right there, but I'm going to go up front. And a guy that goes by the name of Stone Cold Chris Jones, he's been kind of MIA in the playoffs. He really hasn't been, the game record that he was the year before. And I think when you look, everybody wants to get Tom Brady off his spot. You want to get pressure on the quarterback, make him move around. Chris Jones has to have a big game if the Chiefs are going to repeat. And, of course, he gets to go up against the Bucs' backup right guard, Aaron Stinney, who struggled a little bit against Kenny Clark from the Packers last week. So look for Chris Jones to be lined up on both guards in this Super Bowl.
We're going to have a lot more offensive line talk, too, coming your way. It's one of my favorites. I'm excited about that. Let's go to the Bucs side of things, though. Tampa back in the Super Bowl for the first time since '02. Their offense cruising. Brady and his new friends scoring 34 a game since the start of December. And if anyone has the weapons to keep up with the Chiefs, it's the Bucs. Jeezy, so who do you like in this game?
I'll be watching the quarterback. That's the guy that takes the snap. His name is Tom Brady. You may have heard about him. I like this week, by the way, how he was asked about joining the Buccaneers and, Bruce Arians and the Buccaneers maybe taking a chance. And he's like, taking a chance? Have you seen these rings? I'd like to think that it wasn't a chance that they took on me to sign me. And, listen, if you're the Buccaneers, you had the weapons around Tom Brady. That's a big reason why he targeted you. Okay, I know you targeted him, but he targeted you, and he has been using them to the full effect right now, spreading the football around, really not focusing. Remember last year with the Patriots kind of focusing too much on Edelman? Isn't doing that. He's really tough to defend right now. It's going to be fascinating to see how Spags and the Kansas City Chiefs defense try to slow him down.
Brady's 10th Super Bowl. It's wild. We're going to have some pretty crazy trivia coming up a little later in the show, so see if you can play along with us. And finally, let's go to the Bucs defense here. Todd Bowles' crew, top 10 in both yards and points during the regular season. And Mike Rob, they haven't allowed 30 in a game since Week 9. So let's talk about those linebackers.
Absolutely. Levante David, Devin White, they lead this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense in tackles. They know how to get after the quarterback. They're going to be vitally important in this matchup. There's so many RPOs that the Kansas City Chiefs like to do. So those linebackers are going to have to be able to, stick offensive linemen, be able to shed them, be able to diagnose the play, be able to drop back in the passing lanes. And I think where they're going to really show up, both of these guys are going to have to cover Travis Kelce at times with help over top. They got to be aggressive with him at the line of scrimmage and make sure him and Patrick Mahomes don't get that timing down, because if they do, Travis Kelce can wreck the entire defensive game plan of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. These two linebackers, vitally important.
What a duo they are. And I can't believe Levante David's first trip to the playoffs. He's finally getting the shine he deserves. We're going to talk about him a little bit more coming up in the show. But let's go to Tampa, Florida, hosting the Super Bowl for the 5th time. Beautiful weather, beautiful beaches, a great locale for football's biggest game. And we have reporters covering both teams this morning. So let's start with Jeffrey Chidilla and the Chiefs.
Here in Kansas City, the big question Tyreek Hill's been getting this week is just how will he duplicate the success he had the first time around against the Bucs? If you remember, he had 203 receiving yards in the first quarter of that game, but only 66 after that point. Now, Hill said he joked that, look, I started to get tired of running around making plays in that game, but after that point, he said, look, I have a ton of respect for defensive coordinator Todd Bowles and how he played him. Bowles rolled the safety over to help out cornerback Carlton Davis in the second half of that contest, did a lot of double teaming of Hill, and really made Hill not as effective in the second half of that game. And Hill expects the same approach this time around. He knows that Bowles is not going to let him run around and make the same kind of plays he did in that first contest. And Hill also gave a lot of respect to the Bucs front seven. He said when that unit gets clicking up front, they are a monster to deal with. So Hill knows this is not going to be as easy as it was the first time around, and that the Bucs will have a better game plan for dealing with him. And now we'll send it over to Sarah Walsh with more on the Bucs.
The Bucs are riding a 7-game win streak into the Super Bowl to take on a Chiefs team that was the last to beat them back in Week 12. But Bruce Arians told us this week that's actually when he feels like his team started to turn things around and that the offense really began clicking in the second half of that Chiefs game. He said his biggest regret is that they didn't get the ball back at the end. Tampa had the ball just 4.5 minutes in that fourth quarter. Asked what changed after that game. Well, the Bucs went into the bye week, and Arians told us guys like Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, who had been beat up, and Antonio Brown, who hadn't been around a long time at that point. He said that's when Tom really got some continuity going with them, and they have never looked back since. Now, the records would indicate the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in football this season, but Tom has been here before. 4 other times he has taken on the team that has the best regular season record in the Super Bowl. He is 3-1 in those games.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Jeffrey. So the Bucs playing at home sounds like a good thing, right? But Brady's actually been better on the road this season. He's throwing for 40 more yards per game away from Raymond James Stadium, and his passer rating is nearly 20 points higher, although none of those games were the Super Bowl. So the Bucs 5-3 at home this season, 9-2 on the road, including 3 straight road playoff wins. Sean, how much of an advantage is it right now for the Bucs to be playing at home? It's got to be huge.
Well, Colleen, look, I mean, to be at home on the biggest game of the year, I mean, there's got to be a little bit of a comfort level. I know as a center, Colleen, one of the things that I would always do anytime I got to the stadium and it's an away game, technically, you go around and you look at the clocks. Where are the play clocks? Where's the 24-second clock? You ought to always know where that is. Look, for Tom Brady and Ryan Jensen, they don't have to worry about that. So I think there's absolutely a little bit of a comfort level there. I think my one question, Colleen, is are the cannons going to be working? Because I just feel like that big explosion is always a little bit of an emotional boost for them. So I hope they're going to be able to have enough gunpowder to use those cannons frequently. But I will say this. The one thing that we were concerned about when I played in the Super Bowl was conditioning. You had a week off. You practiced maybe 3, maybe 4 days out of that week. So we all started to get a little extra running in.